Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. We're obviously just excited and honored to have time with you tonight. And we know you're really busy. Again, I just can't thank you enough. I'm going to just be quiet. I think you know what our team needs, and we always trust you, and anything we can do to learn from you, we're just excited to do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate letting me get on. And I mean that. Well, first of all, what I really want to talk about tonight, to be honest with you, I think is really a testament to where we are as a company. When you look at Family First Life, we finished our 10th year. We've had the last 2 months have been the best months we've ever had in the history of our company. We do more volume than anybody there is in the industry. It's not even close. And there's one singular reason that we do that. There's a lot of other things that are variables, but there's one thing that's a constant, that if you take the people that are winning, they're doing this, and the people that are losing, they're not. And I'll debate it with anybody anywhere in the world. I'll come to you and debate it because I'm right. We have, and it's funny, I was talking to Bill Greenleaf, one of the staff in Connecticut the other day, and he said, you know what I love the most about the company? Because he deals with all kinds of people that don't work at the company, vendors, and you name it. And he said that, you've taught us from day one to be so unbelievably personally accountable. I was just on a call for Frank Euphemia, and I've known Frank Euphemia for 15 years. And Frank said, remember the third year I called you and asked you if I could sleep in on Sunday? And I said, yeah. And in front of the group, they had 250 people on there. And he said, I said, first of all, you didn't ask me. You said I called him and he didn't answer the phone on a Sunday morning. And what's funny about us is, as human beings, we do such a good job lying to ourselves, right? Like right now when I'm talking, I'm my best audience. Some of you are listening, some of you aren't. Hell, some of you might fall asleep. But I'm the best audience that I'm listening to myself. Diego, if you're talking, the person getting the most out of it is you. I'm really careful with what I say to myself, right? So for instance, I was talking to a guy this morning, he's in a different business, and he's like, I said, I want you to go through the problems you've had over the last 7 days. List them. And he lists them all out to me, like 10 of them. And I said, walk me through the reasons why you have those problems. And we get about the third one, and none of them were about him. It was all the other people. Somebody said to me one day, well, I have a hard time working with the person I worked with. I got hired by Jim Godwin. You know why you've never heard of him? I don't even know if he's alive. He might be. He could be dead. He could be alive. You look him up if you want. He never did nothing. He gave me the ability to get licensed. And that was it, Diego. I didn't call him. He didn't work at all. He complained all the time. He was my upline. He was my upline for quite a long time. Who cared? So I said to the guy, why does that matter? This guy's not even our business. He's blaming his coworker. Then he's blaming his manager. Then he's blaming the economy. And I was like, no matter what you do in life, you will be unsuccessful. So I love all of you all as human beings. And I love you, heart and soul. Jesus teaches me to be kind. I'm kind. If you're unaccountable, you unequivocally will fail. Period. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do. If the things that go on in your life that aren't good, and I say, talk to me about it, and you go, that's not my fault. I don't say it's not my fault. I screw a lot of things up. That's my fault when I screw it up. You're late. I'm not late. It's the traffic. Dude, you could have left an hour. It's your fault. And tonight, what I'm hoping we leave this call with, from my piece, is how much responsibility are you going to take for your business? It should be 100%, right? Now, how do we help increase our personal accountability? The problem is, Des, there are people in every one of your lives that speak literal death into you. Seriously. Like, they will tell you why this is so bad and this is so bad and this can't get done and this can't. They'll literally walk you through why you can't do it. Me, I've been doing this forever, so I've always been accountable to what I have to do. Doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. I went to a school that wasn't good. It was good to play baseball. I didn't have any money growing up. Nobody taught me how to do anything. Hell, if I do something now, the people that raised me will be like, why do you talk about that? I'm like, listen, broke ass, shut up. I don't even care if they were the people that gave birth to me. I don't even care if the two of them together give me advice. They still broke asses. I don't take advice from them. And at the end of the day, the people that have been drawn to me in business have become because of my accountability. Matter of fact, my old company, somebody said, do you think the people on your team don't do well because of Jim? I said, Jim who? He said, your upline. I said, what's Jim got to do with what I do? I'm a grown-up. You mean that if Nicole's my upline, that's going to make me sell less insurance? That's pretty weird. It's actually weird if she makes me sell more. I'm an adult. You put me in a framework. You let me see what I want to do. I don't talk to people I don't want to talk to. If you're depressing, I don't talk to you. If you like to complain, like, when are we going to take control of our lives? So let's use our business. If I go, all right, Des, why don't more people sell 30 grand a month? And you can give me a myriad of reasons, right? You can give me a bunch. Leads, I go, because they don't want to. All the things you're saying are variables. Desiree, they choose not to. It's not complicated. They literally make a choice not to. And that's okay. First of all, you have to ask yourself, in your fact-finding mission, do they want to? Yes, they do. Okay, if they don't want to, then we get it. Like, hey, I don't even really want to do that. I have a part-time job. I'm good. But for most of us, we want to. So you have to list the reasons that you're not. They're your reasons, right? What are the things I'm doing during the day that I'm not accountable for? What are the things that I'm doing that are taken away from me being successful? What are the things, I don't have any money for leads. Okay, what are the things you're doing that makes you not have money for leads? But I always love that. Like, it's not my fault. I used to coach a lot. And I told the kids I coached, I only coached males. And they were adults. If you say it's not your fault one more time, I'm going to smack the friggin' taste out of your mouth. Literally. You go, I don't like that. Then hang up, dude. Today's a good day to quit. It's called personal accountability. You guys have the ability to do whatever you want to do. And I don't know where everybody's at. Some of you are doing great, but I'm just saying, like, what if you just decide today's the day I control my life? Like, I'll be sober 24 years on September 24th in 2024. Pretty cool, right? 24, 24, 24, right? The reason I didn't get sober before that is I wasn't accountable. It wasn't my fault. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. Yes, it is. How come you don't have enough agents? The guy was like, well, then he learned it's my fault. I said, cool, what are you not doing? He goes, I'm uncomfortable talking to people. I said, okay, cool. Now, how do we overcome that? Then I go, who are the 5 people you talk to the most during your day? And he lists them. And I go, 2 of them are in the business you're in. They don't do anything. And 3 of them aren't. Tell me who they are. The 5 of them are literal death speakers. Like, you can't do anything. You can't accomplish. And I love when people are like, I wish I had stopped hanging out with the people I hang out with. Are you sitting down? Why don't you just stop? Like, wow, I wish I worked harder. Wow. I wish I had the courage to buy the leads, even if it was my last $1,000. Why don't you just do it? Personal accountability is what draws people. Give me all these reasons that, well, all these people joined because you worked hard. No, because when it went wrong, I took ultimate responsibility because it's my freaking fault. And I make plenty of mistakes. But at the end of the day, what you have to realize when you're in business with people, they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for accountability. What are your clients looking for? Not perfection. Well, I didn't understand the policies. It's not that. I can call up any of you and go, hey, quick question for you, Des, Nicole, Marissa. Hey, can you tell me about this and this and this? I don't need to know everything. And if they're like, why do you call them? Like, they're my bosses. I don't know. I just asked about diabetes. They know stuff. Then I hope what their answer is I'm not doing this again for you. For some of you that want accountability, you have to raise your standards. Diego gets an answer from me one time about the same question. Well, next time, nope. I told my little brother, I will beat the crap out of somebody that bothers you, even if you started it, but not the same dude twice, because you started it again and you shouldn't have started it. You're on your own, and you'll learn after you get smacked around a little bit not to bother people. You want people to be accountable, yet we swoop in and do it all for them. The minute you start hearing somebody be negative, and by the way, for those of you that know me, this is annoying about me. You're like, well, it's always the glass is half full. No, the glass is always full for me. You think that it's always going good? Dude, I started the company with a guy that didn't do anything. I had no idea what I was doing. I was really broke. Our leads were 10 years old. We drove to the appointments. My appointments were in areas most of y'all would never go. Some of you probably would. Most of you would never go. You'd pull in and be like, hell no, I ain't going in there. I got money orders. My average premium was $17 a month. Stacks of apples like this to get 5-6 grand in premium. But I didn't complain. I just went to work. Was it great? To me, it was. You want to know why? That was the only way I had to make money at that moment in time. Why would I have self-diagnosed as being terrible? It was the only option I got. If we're driving down the street and you go, man, Main Street's full of potholes. Is that the only way to get to work? Yeah, Main Street. Then it doesn't matter. But it sucks. Is there any other way to get there? No, it's the only way to get there. Then we got to move, right? So you start talking to yourself every single day. Like before you go to sleep at night, go tonight. Where did I blame other people today? When did I say, man, it was the leads? Man, it was the guy that recruits. Man, it was they didn't have enough of this. Man, the clients, they. You start doing that, it'll mess your world up. I just recruited a guy. I went to a convention, which they shouldn't invite me to if they don't want me to recruit people. Insurance company, it shall remain nameless. And the number one guy in the whole thing was there. He don't work with us. He does now. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, nothing. What's up with you? I said, does she want a seat? It was his niece. She's like, no, I'm good. I'm all set. I said, why don't you work with me? He goes, where do you work? I said, Family First Life. He goes, you like working there? I go, I sure do. So today he calls me, he goes, you didn't tell me you own the company. I said, you didn't ask me. I just said, I like working here. He goes, why are you so humble? I go, why would I not be humble? I sell life insurance. Anybody can do that. Like literally anybody. Why would I be egotistical about selling life insurance? People would ask for life insurance. That would seem really weird. Like that's how you get struck by lightning by God. He's like, hey, fool, you shouldn't be egotistical. Boom, he gets you, right? So we start talking and he's like, dude, I really want to work with you. Like I've never, he goes, you're just so humble and so accountable. And he started asking about the company. And every time he said, why do you all do so well? I said, we have great people. We have great people. And if we've made mistakes, which I have, they're my mistakes to make. But what if you start living that way? What if you wake up in the morning and think, all right, what am I going to work on today? And what if you just convince yourself that you have control of everything that happens to you during the day? What if you just decide, instead of you thinking it's happening to you, no, that's my shit. I own it. That things don't happen to me. I happen to things. Things don't happen to me. I go do it. Does it mean I don't fail? Of course I fail. Does it mean I don't get knocked down? Of course I do. But our business, very successful entrepreneurs do well because their accountability level is real high. What I've not shared much, not because I don't want to share it, just because I haven't really come up. The way I got my break, true break in real estate, was meeting a president of one of the biggest banks. And he just asked me one question. He said, hey, man, you got out of real estate in 2008 because of the market, right? And I said, no. He said, well, the market crashed. I said, I know I'm here on earth. I know it crashed. I know what happened. I know why. Mortgage, derivatives, Wall Street. I'm a smart guy. I just went to Eastern, but I'm smart. And he said, you know what? He called me back the next day. He said, will you meet with me at the bank? I was like, sure, but I ain't taking a job at the bank because that would be boring as hell. And he goes, no, just come down. So I came down to the bank and I had previously applied for a line of credit, which they never gave me. Long story short, I ended up getting that $1 million line of credit unsecured. The rest is history. And he gave me a few reasons why he thought I would do well. But he said, everybody I talked to in real estate that got out of real estate or struggled or had a bump in the road in 2008 said it was because of the market. It was obviously because of the market I got out. And he said, you're the only person that said, no, I didn't plan properly for the change. I wasn't a big enough visionary. I didn't see it coming, and I should have. And he said, if you hold on to that for the rest of your business life, you will do so much better than everybody else around you. And I always have. It doesn't matter what it is. I miss my mark. It's my fault. What if you hold yourself accountable to how many leads you buy, how many hours you dial, how many people you don't talk to? And by the way, I'm going to exonerate all of you. Whoever recruited you or didn't recruit you, it don't matter. Sorry. I worked at a company full of idiots before this. And I was in the hierarchy of idiots, literally. So what? I was the biggest dude at the company. And those guys could not help me at all. And never once did I blame them. And if you're not big on being accountable, you shouldn't be an independent contractor, because that's the struggle with the independent contractor position. You're the only one to police you. You can be unaccountable at your job. You can go to work and suck at your job immensely. Then you'd be like, my manager sucks. It's too hot in here. It's too cold in here. You can do all of that. That's why they create jobs. You can't be unaccountable and be a successful independent contractor. People are attracted to strength and they're repelled by weakness. Repelled, like we hate it. That's why some of you are good when you close. You're strong. What about the ones that don't? You ain't strong on the phone. And the people smell it and they feel it and they run. Some of you are really strong on the phone. Why don't you be strong recruiting? I don't know, because you're not consistent. Why aren't you consistent? Lack of accountability. You'd be more consistent if you were more accountable. You'd realize what you bring to the table. But you have to start thinking that way every day. And by the way, being accountable a lot sucks. It can be annoying. It can be a grind. It can be, it ain't fun. But you're trying to become successful. You're trying to make sacrifices. You're trying to raise the bar that you have, because if you raise it, Des, you raise it for me magically. If all of a sudden you're more accountable and you never complain and I'm on your team, man, that makes it hard for me to bitch, moan, and complain. Really puts me in a tough spot to do so. You don't have to have the best business acumen. You don't have to have come from money. You don't have to have anybody be your mentor growing up. You just have to be accountable, because every one of you is drawn to people that are accountable, because we all know people make mistakes. We just want them to take responsibility for the mistakes. You take pro athletes that they get in trouble for using steroids. One goes, I did it. I did that shit. Like I did it. I did it. Knew it was against the rules. Shit, y'all caught me good. In 2 weeks, nobody cares. But you get the dude that's like, didn't do that. The guy took my sample and doctored it. What? Like he took it in his Hyundai, drove it down the street and altered it? We get so mad because you're so unaccountable, and that insults our intelligence. You have to be accountable personally. This is a very simple business. If you look at the people at the top in our company, they're more accountable to their lead flow. They're more accountable to their schedule. They're more accountable to their structure. I said that to my guy, to Dominic in the Boca office the other day. Like, what happened? Come off a really good month. What happens? 9:30, it's a mother freaking ghost town. I was in my office for 5 years at the old company by 6 a.m., 6 days a week. And I never missed a day. 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, in the office every day. Why? I wanted it more than they do. It wasn't a game to me. It's not a game. This is the way. Sorry, I'm not going to apologize either. It ain't a game. But it was a game. It's a game to some of y'all, because you want to know what happens when you lack accountability? You end up becoming complacent. It's impossible not to. Lack of accountability equals complacency. That's how complacency is created. Man, I don't know why I'm gaining weight, and I don't know why I can't get in shape, but it's obviously not my fault. So what do? You eat a sundae, because it don't matter anyway. You don't go to the shit. I ain't going to go to the gym. I don't have the impact on that. I'm just in bad shape because it ain't even my fault. Shit. So why go work out? And I agree with you. If you think it's not your fault, why go do anything about it? That's the fertile ground for complacency. And complacency is the enemy in our business. That's how we struggle. I'm not complacent. I've been doing this now. We'll be 11 years in December in this company. I'm not broke. I don't need the money. But here's the problem. All of y'all, you haven't gotten to where you want to get to yet. And people say to me, man, I'm frustrated about this, or I don't like this. Dude, I'm not addicted to the life insurance business. I'm addicted to seeing people win. And the way I've seen the most people win is in the insurance business. I'm not addicted to the insurance business. It's actuarial science, compliance. It's like not that sexy. But watching people win, seeing people that were making 70 grand a year make 320, seeing people go, man, watching the way they walk around and the confidence they have, that's what's always driven me. guys on my team feeling better about themselves, having a success, having a victory, guys I coached, walking around with their heads. That's the first thing I worked on. Walk around with your head held high. I don't give a shit who we're playing. Walk around like this is your place. I don't care what happens. You start walking around like a grown-ass man. Handle your business, have respect for yourself, and be accountable. Hey, why didn't you? What happened out there? My bad, coach. You know that? No, my bad. I should have made that pass. Not, hey, you saw this. No. Your accountability. But if you want to avoid the complacency, actually, you can't be complacent once there's personal accountability. Complacency isn't fit with accountability. They jettison each other. They repel. They're like oil and water. Now, how do we do that in the recruiting side too? Well, most of you, if I were to ask you and you were to be honest, you recruit a day, a week, a day, a month, kind of on occasion, maybe 3, maybe. And at the end of the day, it's because you don't have that accountability to you, but also not to anybody else. I do believe, this might be weird, Nicole, I believe that you have a responsibility because you've seen how easy it is to make money and selling life insurance. I believe you have an obligation to share that with other people. That's what I believed about me. I believe you have a literal obligation as a human being to be a decent human being and share that with other people. Because there are people out there right now that live within 2 square miles of you that can't pay their rent or mortgage. There are 2 people arguing right now. They just had dinner. What time is it out there? 5:40. They're having dinner. They had a couple of drinks they shouldn't have had. And they're both pissed because they ain't got no money. The kids are watching. They're mad because they ain't got no money. You have the answer. They can buy $1,000 in leads, go out there and make $6-7 grand. You have the answer, but we ain't going to share it. Because I got mine. That's lack of accountability. The reason I recruit every day, all day, is I want to see other people. I don't know who I'm going to walk by. I have no idea. And what changed my life, and I've told you all this, what changed my life at a convention a couple years back is some guy sending me a note saying he was going to kill himself. Listen, I didn't go save his life, but a dude came to convention, met some people, made some sales. He ain't rich. He ain't retiring, but he thought he was done because he couldn't. He's still alive. He seemed committed to killing himself. You don't know who you're walking by. You don't know what they're dealing with. And also, if I hear people are like, we always joke. So I'm like, I got perfect blood pressure, which I got perfect mother effing blood pressure. I do. I don't get stressed. I don't get stressed out. I do the best I can every day. I'm not unaccountable. No offense. I love y'all. I ain't no punk. I work hard, take responsibility for my own stuff. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. And I think people accept me for that. You're imperfect. You're going to make mistakes. And when I do, my bad. There are a lot of times since running the company that I could have blamed somebody else. Easily. There were times that tech went, but I don't even know anything about tech. Ironically, now, all these years later, like I said, it was my fault. Shit, I don't even know how to spell the word code. How was I going to write code? I didn't write the code, but you know what? I'm in charge. My fault. Hey, I apologize. That's my fault. 100%, Diego, my fault. I could have now, once I do that, Diego, it makes it hard for you because I just made it. I took responsibility for tech I don't know anything about. I cost myself $300,000 out of my own bank account to overpay for it to make it better for people. And now you're thinking about not being responsible for why you didn't write $8 grand in a day. When my dumb ass just gave away 300 grand, took credit for tech, and I don't even know anything about tech. It makes it harder for you not to be accountable. Des, you want an accountable team, you have to be rabidly accountable. Everything that goes on in that business that ain't right is your everything at FFL that goes wrong, everything is my fault. Everything. And everything that goes right is because I have awesome people like y'all. Imagine if you started running your business that way. Everything, Diego, in your business that goes wrong is your fault. And everything goes right because you got great people. And be positive. But what the hell's on? Why is it echoing? Sorry about that. It was my fault. Don't know. Can you hear me now? Yes. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Cool. Yes. Okay. That was my fault. I don't even know what that was. That's my fault. Accountability. My fault. Completely my fault. Right. But you have to start getting locked in. And if I could just get each one of you to live that way for 3 or 5 or 12 days, and how much it would change your life and how much it would change your business. I'm not going to talk to these people anymore because you know what? They're not good for my business. But they're my friends. That doesn't mean on Tuesday, Thursday, not on Cinco de Mayo. They ain't good for your business. They ain't good. You go, well, it's lonely. Let me give you some advice. Being accountable and being successful will be lonely for a period of time. It will be lonely. You will feel, do you know how hard that was, Des? Frank Euphemia is a friend of mine. I consider him a friend. You know how hard that is when he calls me to talk about business and only business. And I still do it to this day. I don't know how to do it any other way because then we start, and maybe that's good. Maybe I don't, Diego and I can be friends, but I love you, bro. I'm not mad at you. But like when you're like, what do you like? We're in this together, but my obligation is to help him get better in his business. And that familiarity breeds contempt. And if you're not accountable to you, they're not. So I can't beat this down enough. I don't want to take too much time. If you have any questions for me, Marissa, I'll answer them. But if you just leave here tonight, and as of tomorrow morning, everything in this business is 100% your responsibility. Everything in your life is 100% your responsibility. You'll know when you're on the right path because people are like, I don't even want to talk to you. Obviously, everything's so great. I didn't say it was perfect. But what is me talking to you and listening to you complain where I jump on and complain and we both get negative? How does that work? And when you want to change people's lives, sometimes you have to realize that you may not feel fulfilled at that moment in time, but you're not supposed to either, I don't think. You've all been put in a place where you're blessed beyond measure. You're able-bodied. You have the ability to, I just think, and I always remember this guy I coached with. And, when I played ball, I got real angry. So like I could throw my bat. Seriously. I could throw that shit in the woods. I remember a coach one day came over and said to a guy I knew who struck out and got pissed, and he pointed to the kid in the stands who was in a wheelchair. He used to come to all of our games. And he said he'll never know the feeling ever to walk, let alone play baseball in front of everybody, let alone play at the collegiate level. And hell, maybe y'all play professionally. He comes to the games, gets wheeled out there, and sits in the stands and watches. He would give anything to trade places with you. And then he said something we used to say back in the day, Diego, which was good, which was have some respect for yourself. God forbid we say that nowadays. People file a complaint. But the only sign I had on my old Onico Street house that I don't know what it was, aqua, velvet, teal, asbestos-sided, 2-bedroom house. I lived with both my kids. I had a little printed out piece of paper in a cheap frame next to my bed that said, have some respect for yourself. That was the only thing I looked at every day when I woke up. And to me, it was about accountability. But if you were to analyze your accountability or lack thereof, you're going to find the holes in your business. And the minute you think it's somebody else's responsibility to do the work for you, and one of the things running the company, the bane of my existence has been, well, I don't want to work with Tom. I'm like, wow, I don't, what is Tom doing? I'm like, Jim Godwin, I think he was afraid of the dark and the light. I don't think he drove anywhere. He used to have his wife call me, which is weird, and like tell me what to do. And I would just be like, I'm not hanging up on you. You're a female, but I'm hanging up on you, and I'd hang up on her. But he didn't affect my ability to make money. I just went to work. This is an independent business. Successful independent contractors, successful businessmen and businesswomen, they're unbelievably accountable. And accountability is contagious. So is lack of accountability. It is rapidly contagious. So I probably want to talk about some other things, Marissa, but I got too caught up on that. So you have any questions before I jump off? Or
No, Shawn, I think that was phenomenal. I think it's exactly what we needed. I will ask one thing, just because I do see a lot of new faces on this call that I haven't seen before. I think a lot of new agents are getting started. We're having our biggest month ever, but I know there's a lot of people that are going to meet their goals and want to meet their goals. And I think I ask this question every time you're on the call, but if you were literally a brand new agent, just got contracted with us, logistically, what would you be doing? How much would you be spending on leads? Where would you be getting them? How many hours would you be going to the office to dial? Like, for a brand new agent that's going to start tomorrow, what is their actual tangible recipe?
Well, I'll tell you what I did, because I don't think it changed. My first month, I got as much of the training as I could, right? I went into everything that we had, and I watched a lot of stuff. I spent a lot of hours watching it. And it's funny, the number one producer at the company at that time, his name was Russ. Now, be clear, the last time Russ was number one was before I got there, because he never was number one again after I was there, any year, ever again, no matter what. I'm just being honest. Then he quit. I think he didn't like being number two. But I went to Russ and I said, what do you spend on leads a week? And he was doing we didn't have numbers there like we have here. He was doing like $450,000 a year, and I hadn't sold a policy. And he said, I spend $8,000 a month on leads, $2,000 a week. So I remember I went back to my group of guys that I was working with. They were like my cross line. I hadn't hired anybody yet. I was just getting started. And I said, how do I buy leads? And the guy's like, oh, you got to log in here. I was like, you got to put your credit card in file. I was like, cool. And he goes, what are you getting for leads? I said, $2,000. He said, what kind? I go, I'm just getting $2,000. I don't know, just $2,000. That's all Russ told me to. He's like, who's Russ? Said, number one guy in the company. Now, I wanted to win big, and I'm a risk taker. Okay. Did I have any money? No, I had a lot of stuff going on, man. No, honestly, it was tight, to be really transparent with you. I was embarrassed that it was tight. I was in my mid-30s. It shouldn't have been tight. I should have been a lot further ahead. I'd made a lot of money, invested a lot of money, put a lot of money in places. But Marissa, I wanted to know what the top guy was doing, so I did that. Now, did I issue $40,000 that month? Absolutely not. I probably spent $8,000 on leads, and I bet I issued 24. Now you go, it wasn't bad. No, it wasn't, but I was at a really low comp, much lower than any of you ever thought about getting. I had a lot of fees to work there, so it made my money real tight. Am I saying you should spend $2,000 a week on lead? I'm not saying that. But what you have to do is you're going to need leads. So I do think that traditionally a lot of you all are, you're cautious, which is okay. I think you have it overly, there's some groups that are too aggressive, which they are. There's such thing as being too aggressive. And then there's too cautious. There's somewhere in the middle. I think when you get slightly aggressive, that makes a lot of sense to me. That's kind of how my investments too, slightly aggressive, moderately aggressive. But for me, I also didn't wait for anybody. I think the problem with most new people is they're looking around to everybody. Watch the training. You're at live dials, listen to what they have to say. But if Nicole gets on and makes one sale, I'm good, dude. I heard her. I'm going to do what she did. I'm not going to be perfect, but I got into it right away. Growing up, my uncles used to say, and I learned this when I was real young, the only way to learn how to fight is to get into one. And that's a true statement. I learned how to fight. It was that. But at the end of the day, the only way you learn how to do this business is you get in it. You make your dials. You get on the phone. You don't wait for anybody. You make your mistakes. You seek, but you don't make 3 dials and call, 5 dials and call, 7 dials and call. You don't do that. And I'm sorry. I'm glad we have all the systems we have nowadays, but we have too many almost. Dude, my training was a CD I put into my damn car, and it was Russ giving his phone script. That was my training. I didn't have, and I'm glad we have all the training we have now, but a lot of times people because listening to training, they won't fail in their minds, right? So I'm going to listen to more training. Then I'm going to listen more. Then I'm listening more. I'd be on the phone the day I got contracted immediately. I'd call whomever. Every one of you also knows people that need life insurance. Warm market is not a good long-term strategy, but everybody knows. And by the way, your friends and family will be harder to close than like cold market people because we buy from people we don't know. So they're great warm up anyway. But dude, if you were around me, you got life insurance. And my buddy Mike Gillette, he lives in Jacksonville. He's still got 5 policies I wrote him, and he didn't want to meet me. I told him I'm obligated. I said, dude, I have to meet with you. My boss requires it. He's like, that sounds stupid. I go, dude, I don't make the rules. They make me go meet with 10 of my friends and family and go over life insurance, dude. I have to get used to looking at policies and shit. So I'll be at your house tomorrow. Tell Melinda I'll be there and stop being weird. And then I went and sold him a policy, Melinda a policy, the kids each a policy, and then she had money in an annuity. And thank God I ended up doing good. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. I called dude. I was like, hey, what's up with them annuity things? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, well, she's got like 110 grand in 401k and she's losing the money. Like, what do you want me to tell you? So, but I think like the message is like, dude, I bet you all the new programs and stuff you guys got are good. But I'm going to tell you, the problem is we got too much and not enough activity. Got everybody wanting to avoid, getting punched in the face in the business. I didn't join nothing. I just went to work, listened to some stuff, and that was it. And hiding behind the training won't get you to go to work. That's what I said. It's one of those things that, how do you write policies not knowing what? What's the rest of that one? What does that thing say?
It says, how do you write policies not knowing what you're doing?
What's that dude's name? JV. What's JV's name?
JV.
That's his name, like real full name is JV. Like junior varsity is his name, like real name, JV.
Well, I don't know. I can only see what you can see as well.
I'm a girl. Sorry, JV. I should not have assumed you were male. JV, what does that stand for? Do we know? Why is it? Andrew's trying to expand it. Oh, shit. We got everybody here.
Jerry Bell.
Where are you at? Where's she at? She's not there?
She says she's
What'd you say, Des? What'd you say, Des?
I didn't see anything, Shawn.
Oh, somebody said J Bell. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go with JV. I apologize that I thought you was a male. All right, JV. That's a great question to stop. For me to end on, not for y'all to stop, for me to end on. I need you to understand this and hear me on this, and this will freak some of y'all out. But the organization I had at the company I was at, we sold the most life insurance out of everybody. It wasn't even close. And people would fly in. And when new agents came in, we would give them about 30 minutes on mortgage protection, 30 minutes on final expense. But I got to be honest with you, we would end the training with this. I would say, all right, when you leave here, you're going to get in your car. And when you get in your car and you start it, if you pulled in a parking spot, you got to go in reverse. That's R. And then when you get it turned around, that's exactly what we did. Put that shit in D for drive. And then when you go to the lights and they're green, you get to keep. This is what I did for like 5 minutes. People, they'd want to say something. They didn't know what to do. And I'd be, guys, that'll be the hardest part of what you do will be driving to the appointments. But a lot of us, we're looking for, and JV, you're new, but I'm saying a lot of us are looking for reasons why, like, we don't know anything. Matter of fact, I wrote my first 15 apps in the wrong application. I was in Connecticut. I wrote them on Maryland apps. But you know what? Shit, I learned. Mine were 15-page paper apps. Dude, you can't even finish the app now if it stops you. Like, there's literally nothing to it. But I'm telling you, there's some magic in people that just literally go out there. And you all have some knowledge. And by the way, you need to have the knowledge. Please don't get me wrong here. But you're going to learn so much more from going out there and doing it. And hell, the app doesn't let you screw anybody up. It doesn't. Like, you ask the questions and it doesn't now, as you're getting started, people are going to ask you and you get to call somebody and say, what should I write? But here's my problem. Any of you ever work with people where you give them the information over and over and over and over again and you think they don't take it in? They keep calling you. Hey, not their fault, yours. It's not their fault. It's not, the accountability. That's not their fault. You keep doing it for them. And then you wonder why they are not picking it up. So you give them this, they go in every time and they go through, then they call you and then you answer all their questions and you want to know why they're not independent. Would you be? A lot of us were blessed with being fiercely independent when we were young. That's why we're entrepreneurs. We were forced into being independent. Those of you who are shaking your head like a bobblehead, you know, like we had to be. The people around us were children. They weren't adults. We raised us. Okay, so we did it already in what was much harder. Now we're calling people that ask us for help and everybody dies. They need life and everybody's going to. So please take the information, get what you need to get, but you go out there and make it happen. I learned so much. I learned so much by making such a mess. And it didn't allow me to screw anything up because all I do is ask questions and tell the truth. So, okay, let's say I need to get more information. Okay, I called them back, but I learned so much. Jim Godwin not knowing anything and not doing anything was such a blessing for me because I learned so much. Had Jim babysat me and micromanaged me, that wouldn't have, and I'm hearing, please hear me on this. If I was not in this business, you would want to hire me. Some of you like to micromanage. I wouldn't have worked with you. The minute you told me like 75,000 things I needed to do forever, like get on new agent training, done. That makes sense. I'm in. But the minute you start wanting me to call you on everything and you call, like you start calling me, I'm like, yeah, hello. How you doing? Are we now friends or like what's going on? Because I just want to sell life insurance here. I already got friends. Like, are you going to call me every day? Because it's a little bit, it's freaking me out. And if it keeps happening, I'm going to get a restraining order. No offense. I'm just saying, like, I want to go to work. Like, we're good, right? We're not friends. We're not. That's weird to me. But when you create this environment that fosters unaccountability or lack of accountable behavior, and then you get lack of accountability. Shocker. Y'all are great. You're probably smarter than the top producers in the company. Believe me, you're definitely smarter than some of the people who've been around for a long time at big teams. I gave them IQ tests. One day when I write a book about this whole thing, and I'm going to write one and tell everything. And when I do, I will name them like he's dumb. He's dumb. You definitely smarter than they are. You're like, he'll really do that shit. I don't give a shit. They do it to me. Hell, half the stuff they make up about me ain't even true. So like, I will, like, I'm just telling you, you're all really smart. Y'all got good like, why not you? And I want you to leave. And here's how. Accountability. If you beat them at accountability, life's good. You're going to win. So obviously, I'm passionate about the topic. I took way too long. I went overtime. That's on me. My fault. I love y'all. Hope you kill it. And appreciate letting me get on, Marissa.
Shawn, thanks so much for all your help. Again, it's an honor and this is exactly what we needed. And I'm excited because I know we're going to go out there. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep crushing it. And everyone on this call is going to get to where they need to get to. So thank you so much.